it is me, Terrible. We are going to be reviewing the NFL draft board for 2025. Let's take a look on the board first. Well, you know what? Let's slow down here a little bit. Let's look at the teams. Let's take a look at the teams here, because, looking at this list, the players, this is probably going to be a bit different. There's always guys that are surprises, both good and bad. So anybody that's, at the top here could easily fall. I think the first one I can think of from 2024 is, I remember early on, Kool-Aid, the corner from Bama. He was, up in the top 10, ended up falling to the second round. So a lot of these guys, especially some maybe late first rounder guys, they're going to end up just falling right out. They're not going to be where they are right now, and there's going to be guys that are lower on the board here that are going to shoot up. They're going to shoot up the draft boards, as long as they don't put any gas masks on. They're going to go up the boards. But yeah, it's always fun. I like looking at Tankathon, right after a draft, because they have all this stuff for next year, and then, like I said, it changes a lot, and it's just nice to, for once, I never did this any other years. I'm just reviewing what we have here. So, looking at the teams, they're pretty much saying the Panthers and the Patriots will be the worst teams in the league, followed by Broncos, Commanders, Titans, Giants, Raiders. So, I think that's pretty accurate. I don't see the Panthers doing well this year. I don't see the Pats doing well this year. They're rebuilding teams. The Panthers, obviously, with Bryce Young, they're not going to be, maybe after this season, they will be a QB needy team, but at this time, no, they got Bryce, so they're good at QB. They're going to take, edge rusher from Tennessee, James Pierce. Looking at the QBs on this list, you can kind of understand why there was a QB craze this year. First off, there were 6 pretty good quarterbacks in this 2024 draft. Don't know if that's going to be the case for 2025. We're looking at Shedeur Sanders, Carson Beck, Quinn Ewers. I don't think he's going to last, not in the top 5. We'll see. He was impressive on a pretty bad team, really bad O-line. We'll see if that changes, but, he's got Travis Hunter, so that definitely helps, but Travis Hunter, he's an interesting one. Is he going to play corner? Is he going to play receiver? I mean, he plays both. In college, you don't see this a lot. I can't even think of, the last guy that was, coming into a draft that was oh, he could play either. He plays both. So I can't even think of anybody. So I assume, I don't even know. I don't even know if he's going to play corner or receiver. I got no idea. But, he's pretty good at both. But will he end up being elite at one or the other? That's a pretty good question. But, yeah, Patriots, he'd be a good pick for them. They could use him. Broncos, hey, if Troy Franklin is not the guy with Bo Nix, you just get a new receiver. Just get a new one the next year. That's pretty good. Commanders getting a tackle makes sense. The Titans at 5 here, yeah. If they have a bad year, end up at 5, it might mean that, Will Levis is not the guy. So, yeah, QB here, they're taking Shedeur. It makes sense. Maybe, but Giants, yeah, I should have went into the 2024 draft kind of with this mindset, because we knew Daniel Jones kind of had, one more year before they can get out of his contract. So, it makes sense that they got him a weapon, and now, let's see what he can do one more year, and then when that fails, if this happens, they end up at pick number 6, and that fails, they'll be able to grab a new one, get out of Jones' contract, and you still have a stud receiver from your last draft. So, 2024, I had the Giants taking a QB, but this was more realistic. I should have just thought about it a little bit more. I didn't. I just was like, all right, they got to get rid of Daniel Jones. You got to move on. Doesn't matter how much you're paying him. It's only 1 year, but this was probably the more realistic scenario. And Carson Beck, you can't go wrong with Carson Beck. I mean, depending on who else goes crazy, quarterbacks are pretty favored in Heisman, for the Heisman Trophy. So Carson Beck, definitely a Heisman type guy, just because of the team he's on. Georgia's always stacked. Quinn Ewers, similar situation. Shador, we gotta see. Colorado, a lot of transfers. How well will they mesh? You know, do they even have the right coach? Shador, he just, I don't know, interesting guy, much like his father. I like Travis because he's, you know, all the noise that Colorado makes, you know. You don't hear much from Travis. He's all about football. And I think he's married, I don't even know. And he has like a podcast. Like, he's one of those dudes. It's like, I'm about these things and that's it. Something like that. That's what I hear. I don't even know. But yeah, Giants would be able to get their QB. And then, yeah, Raiders, they went with Brock Bowers. So, you know, they were maybe hoping for one of the 6 QBs to fall down to them, but they're stuck. Who are they stuck with? Aiden O'Connell. I guess it's going to be Aiden. I mean, he was a rookie last year. I don't think it's a bad idea that they roll with him one more time. But if that ultimately fails, and they end up at 7, they're definitely going to be looking elsewhere here. Quinn Ewers, not a bad pick, but other than that, going through the list, there's just no QBs here. There's none. Oh, okay, Jalen Milrose in the 2nd. Okay, that's about it. But that's I don't know. Maybe I'd take him in the 2nd. I don't know. Maybe the 3rd. But yeah, 4 QBs really in these top 2 rounds. So that'll be interesting to see if that stays the same. You know, one of these guys will probably drop out, and then another guy will probably step up and get into this. But yeah, in terms of some of the players, I mean, I know some of them, like Will Johnson, Graham. Other than that, it's a little tough, especially since we're not in season. Carter's not bad. Ekbuka, yep. It's interesting. I feel like one of these guys will probably have a really good year and then move up, for sure. Isaiah Bond, yep. Yeah. So, a lot of solid players here. So, it'll be interesting to even learn about some of them, because I don't even know a bunch of them. But a lot of running backs. Here. None in the 1st. Oh, wait, no, 1 in the 1st. So they have the Ohio State guy going 1st. But then 2nd round, you know, we got 1, 2, 3. Where's the other one? 3, 4. Yeah. So a lot of running backs, especially compared to this year. But yeah, I expect, you know, other than Travis, because he's a dynamic player, I expect it'll be pretty similar. Maybe we'll have some cornerbacks drop down a little bit, a couple of tackles here. Maybe some of the tackles will look pretty good during the air and shoot up, because that's just really a huge position of need. But it'll be interesting to see. Yeah, like I said, a year from now, pretty much, I'll be able to scroll through this thing and see how much it changed, and we'll be able to do our own mock drafts at that point. But at this point, no point in me doing a mock draft. I don't know these guys. I don't. But I love Tankathon. I love the fact that we can just check this thing out and, you know, really just see where teams finish. But this has Chiefs, Niners finishing in the Super Bowl, Ravens, Lions. What did they just copy and paste from last year? Bengals, Bills, Cowboys, Eagles, Texans, Packers, all are up here. Dolphins, Falcons at 21. That's interesting. Bears at 20. That's interesting. Really, they're really high on the rookie QB there. I think Caleb, I don't think they end up 20. I think slow start to the year, and maybe they'll end up in the teens, but he'll look like the guy for the future. Jets at 19, that's interesting. Rams still making runs. Yeah, Browns would barely miss the playoffs. Jaguars barely missed the playoffs. Chargers, Steelers, Buccaneers all missing. I'd say that's pretty accurate. Yeah, that's an interesting playoff. The Bears in the playoffs. That's, yes, 32 teams, right? 14 get in. So, yeah, we're up to 18. Bears in the playoffs. Falcons in the playoffs. Interesting. That's interesting. Although, who else would actually get in? Steelers, new QB. Chargers are in rebuild. Buccaneers are running it back. I mean, maybe they sneak back in. This might be a little low. 13 here. Colts still rebuilding. Seattle rebuild. So, yeah, a lot of... I guess it makes sense, but the Cardinals, oh boy, stuck at 8. That's brutal. But, yeah, there it is. NFL 2025 mock draft review here. What do you think? Who are the 2 worst teams going to be in the NFL? I'd say these are decent predictions, but I'd say one of them won't be in the top 2, that's for sure. But I think these 2 are a lock for top 5.